Infernicus, a Decepticon that appeared in Transformers The Last Knight, a Decepticon with such an important role that all he ever did was stand around and look cool, which seems to be a trend for most of the movie Decepticons. But sadly, with such a minor appearance and such an uninteresting design, Infernicus has sort of been forgotten in the movies. So I decided to make it my mission to redesign all of the Infernicons with unique looking designs, and overall change the final look of Infernicus to something more unique and less bland. Previously on the Infernicus redesign. So I made this guy. To give Infernicus a more cohesive look and make the team stand out more, I decided to base the Infernicons off the 7 deadly sins, which consist of lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. So I began working on one of the most inconsequential parts of the design, being the right arm, and based the first Infernicon off the sin of wrath. With a Cerberus Beast mode, I created the first Infernicon, Hellhound. It was actually this username called Optimus Prime who suggested the name first, so he gets credit. And also, I kinda changed some things about him. Well, they're really minor because some guy complained about there being no shading because I was trying to get the video out in time. And because of this guy, I went back and added shading to him. As you can see, his Cerberus mode now has shading, his Rod mode has shading, and his Combiner mode also has shading. I even updated the fire effect, as you can see here, which, I mean, it looks better, but thank you for making me work even more, you. A lot of you guys suggested some things, and yes, a lot of you guys corrected me on the fact that a 7-man combiner team is pretty unheard of when I forgot Revenge of the Fallen Devastator exists, but honestly, who really wants to remember Revenge of the Fallen Devastator? Now we're gonna move on to this redesigns Infernicon, and that is the Infernicon based on the sin of greed. So much like the previous episode where I made the first Infernicon based on the sin of wrath, this week I'm focusing on an Infernicon based on the sin of greed. So this is gonna be quite a greedy character. Now for the beast mode, I wanted to keep it, based on a mythological creature, like a beast of mythology, because I wanna do that for all of the Infernicons. Now, I got tons of suggestions, and some of you guys suggested that I base one of the Infernicons on a Kraken. The problem with the Kraken is that it's like octopus, and now nothing wrong with octopus, it's just that I feel like that's quite an awkward beast mode to like make into a transformer. Like the only other transformers that's based off an octopus doesn't have that very good of octopus mode, and imagine that design on the movie. It would look weird, especially considering that these guys are gonna be guarding the ignition chamber far away from any type of water. So yeah, the octopus idea is not going to do. But then I got thinking, what if I do a sea-based beast mode that can, be efficient on water, but also, still be able to participate on land combat? And then I thought of the Kraken. And I primarily thought of the Kraken from Ben 10. I don't know why that came to me. It just did. And then I started looking for more designs of Krakens out there in Google, and I decided to sort of take that design and sort of mix it with some of the Pacific Rim kaiju, because I think that a lot of the kaiju designs for Pacific Rim are actually pretty solid. So you're gonna see some familiar imagery with this guy. So yeah, I got to design the beast mode. I gave him multiple eyes, and I wanted this guy to sort of be like an electric eel, like have electricity to it, because I mean the right arm can shoot fire, might as well give the left arm something to do. I'm not planning to give all of these Infernicons an elemental power, so don't expect the legs to have the power to blow air or move earth Avatar style. I just did this because as an offensive quality, it will make this guy particularly deadly on water, and on land, kind of picture this guy being a bit more defensive, He's based on greed, so he, wants to keep his treasures to himself, so, him being more defensive based, I think it makes a whole lot of sense. The hardest part of this design was the tails. Definitely the tails, because it was just repeating the same design pattern over and over and making sure it aligns properly and make sure that the joints can move, from side to side. That was probably the most frustrating and difficult part of this design, definitely. The robot mode, however, it wasn't as bad. The robot mode, I sort of based it on the Collector from Mortal Kombat, and yes, he is a useless character that has no place in the story, but he does have the whole greedy look pretty well. So I decided to take inspiration from that design and made his legs be all twisted and hunchback, kind of like Diablo Treasure Goblin. My favorite part about the Royal Mode was probably designing the head, just because I basically had the head open up, and from like the tongue, it looks like a tongue in the Beast Mode, but it's actually the robot head that's hiding there. You just pull it up and then it comes out. Now the head design, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I actually based it off some of the Bionicle Toa, especially the Toa Mari, because their designs are pretty much them having underwater breathing gear. So I was like, you know, that fits. And I love Bionicle, so there's that too. What I like about the head is that it forms like kind of like this hoodie thing that he has going on, like the front of the head kind of helps mask his face a little. It's like, you know, covers him. It makes him look like a devious, scheming kind of character. Originally, what I was planning to do with the tentacles was that instead of like being like these sharp stingers, he was gonna have hands, and the hands were gonna be holding weapons from dead Transformers. So think of like Ironhide's gun, Starscream's missile launcher, Wheeljack's weaponry. Like, he just goes around, collects stuff, and he keeps it for himself. And you guys might be asking, where will he store all that stuff? Well, we can just pull a G1 Optimus Prime and say that he has like his own little pocket compartment universe where he can like place the things he steals, which is an idea that I'm not against, but I haven't like implemented that into the design because I kind of scrapped that. I feel like that would be a little too overcomplicated, but if you guys are okay with that, I can always go back and change some things because, you know, I did that for the Rad Infernicon. So the hardest part of this guy, well, again, was the tentacles, and I'm skipping the tentacles. Like, it was so frustrating to go here and there and delete and like redo the tentacles for the right angle. That was probably the hardest part. So on screen you guys are not gonna see me do the tentacles. Like, that was the most frustrating part. Now for the Combiner Beast Mode, it wasn't that bad. I feel like the Road Mode was a bit more challenging. The problem was the hand. I was like, where's the hand gonna come from? Oh my god, what do I do now? So what I decided was that I'm gonna have to pull a Megatronia, and the hand's gonna have to come in separately. So like, you know, we're gonna have a small joint in there, in that, like, you know, at the back of the head, and you just pull the head back, though you don't pull it up, and then you just, you know, tab in the hand, so, you know, he can like have a fist and have something to hold. Again, I feel like I should mention this, I am paying attention to like where everything goes. Like, I'm not pulling a Michael Bay and, you know, have some of the robot parts disappear, some of the Beast Mode parts disappear. Like, I'm paying close attention to where everything goes. I'm going into this design with the mentality of this being like an actual Transformers toy that Hasbro will design. I'm not saying that they will. I'm going with this mentality to help me keep this grounded, to like give me ideas as to how will I design this. The most difficult part of this design, for me at least, was figuring out how would I do the tentacles for the Combiner Mode. So I decided that you would just simply shove the tentacles inside him. Oh god, that sounds so wrong. And, you know, you are left with some of it left in there, and you just leave it there hanging at the end of the Combiner Mode. It's probably not the best way to do the tentacles. Like, the way that the Sea accounts did it was that they kind of just wrapped all the tentacles into like this weird flower thing to the side of the arm mode. And I was thinking of doing that, but nah, I feel like that would be copying too much, so I decided to like give my own spin to it and just, you know, leave the tentacles there. It's like the best I can do with the design, best way to store that. I'm sorry if you guys don't like that, but it's the best I could do. Now for the coloring. You know, doing this, I will admit that the coloring is my favorite part. For this, I went with a greenish color scheme because, you know, green is basically the color of green because money and stuff. So I just gave him like this green with small bits of yellow and like a very dull blue. And I also did the shading while I was at it, so you guys can't complain about that right now. You will also see that I'm giving him like some blue-ish highlights around the body. And that's because, you know, like I said, this is basically a mix of a Kraken and an electric eel. So he's gonna have the ability to like create an electric field around him to protect himself, and, you know, he's gonna use it offensively and also defensively. Hellhound kind of, you know, lights up, and you got the flames and the smoke coming out of him. This is gonna have lighting, and the dull grayish blue kind of, you know, light up into a sparkling yellow. You guys will see in a minute. But now I want to talk about some of your idea suggestions, or you guys are watching me do the color. Delta 9 suggested a lot of good points as to how should I design some of the Infernicons. And he also put a lot of time into this comment, I can tell, because he bolted it. So obviously he spent a lot of time making this one. So, you know, I want to give him a quick, you know, thank you for the suggestions. He kind of helped me with the placement for some of these, kind of like for the Sin of Gluttony. I think he made a good point as to why it should just be by default the chest. And a bunch of other stuff that I'm not gonna have enough time to mention. Gamer200 also gave me some good ideas for Gluttony, saying that it should be a grinder vortex, and I was thinking the exact same thing as well. He also suggested the idea of the Kraken, but it was for the Sin of Envy, so I cannot just switch it around and gave the Kraken thing for greed. Septile UX suggested that I should name Hellhound Cerberker, because, you know, Cerberus, Berserker, and that was the name I was gonna go with originally, but Hellhound, I don't know, I think it works better. In a franchise with names like Ironhide, Jazz, Bumblebee, Ratchet, Hellhound seems like the kind of name you will find, you know? And of course, there was more of you who also gave me some great ideas, but sadly, because of the length of the video, I'm not gonna be able to showcase them all. But, you know, I'll try and get more people's comments showcased for the third Infernicus redesign. For the third redesign, I'm planning to do one of the legs, and I'm gonna do the left leg first. He's gonna be based off the scent of Sloth, so, you know, give me some ideas as to how should I design him, and what will his beast mode be. Remember, Sloth equals lazy, so come up with some creative ideas. And maybe some creative names for him too. Once I was done with the beast mode coloring, I moved on to the robot mode, and honestly, I really like the way the coloring for the robot mode like turned out. The color scheme just works really well with the robot mode. I like it on the beast mode, but not as much as the robot mode. That's just me. And then of course I moved on to the combiner beast, which it also looked really good, but I can't help but think that the combiner beast mode is basically just this Infernicon breaking his jaw when turning into a combiner because of the way I did it. But anyways, this guy's also gonna need a name. I have no name planned for him, so you guys can be as creative as you want on the name. Anyway, so before I show you the final design, I want to give a huge shout out to Relish Dawn 862 equals blank, who made this drawing of Hellhound, the Infernicon that I redesigned. He based it off the whole Transformers Battle Tactics game that was, I think, a couple of years ago. And this looks good. Like, I'm actually surprised that he made fan art based off this. If you guys like make fan art based off the Infernicons that I made, I'll try and feature them in the next video. Like, you know, just make them, submit them to me via Discord, and I'll feature it in the next video. This looks very good. Like, he actually put a lot of time into this, and I like the way he designed like my design in like the Battle Tactics art style / format. It looks very, very good. Like, good job, man. Like, major props to you for that. And now, without further ado, we have Infernicon number 2, codename Greed. That's the codename, that's not the official name, okay? You guys will decide the official name. Here's the beast mode, and here is going further beyond. Whoa, it lights up, guys. That's him with the you know, electricity around him. Most of the gray kind of just lights up into this yellow, and we got the sparkles around, which, you know, kind of signify lighting, and that he's like right now in like defense mode basically. I actually really like the way this came out. Now here we got the robot mode, and again with the robot mode it also looks pretty good. I think the electricity kind of looks a little better with the beast mode, but that's just me. Maybe you guys will say, nah, fire, the electric mode, the robot mode looks way better. And finally here we have the combiner mode, and I think the right hand and left arm alone kinda makes Infernicus already pretty overpowered, cause he has fire with one hand and he has electricity with another hand, so he's basically Fire God Liu Kang. But yeah guys, this is my final design for the Infernicon based on Greed. He doesn't really have any weapons because, well, I feel like his tentacles are sort of weapon enough, and especially the electricity, like, this guy is already pretty overpowered enough. Oh, and also, that diamond that he has in his robot mode, it's like not actually part of him. It's kind of just there to illustrate that he's, you know, a greedy kind of transformer, you know, based on greed. It's just there for illustrative purposes. It's not like part of his actual thing. But yeah guys, 2 down, 5 more to go. This is gonna be a long series. But anyways guys, before we go, shout out to our patrons Morise Prime, Mateo, Mario Gordon, Christopher Prime, Stephanie Ballard, and the absolute madman himself, Jordan the Great, who donated $100. Thank you guys for donating, it's much appreciated. And if you guys wanna donate to my Patreon, links will be in the description down below and in the comments down below. By donating to my Patreon, you get access to some of my videos early, you can request your own videos, you receive a shout out at the end of my videos, you can participate in some of my videos if you so choose, and you get a few previews of some of my new works that are currently in development. There are plenty of rewards that you get as a result of becoming one of my patrons, and I do plan to adding a few more in the future as time goes on and the patrons grow, but keep in mind that donating is entirely optional, because freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Thank you to my patrons for donating, it's much appreciated. And if you guys wanna donate, you know what to do. So, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Again, I don't have a name for this, guys. So if you guys have a name in mind for the Infernicon based on Greed, tell me in the comments down below, and whatever name I like the most is the one I'm gonna go with from now on. If you guys have suggestions to like improve or change things about any of these two characters, let me know in the comments down below, and I might make some changes before the next video. I do plan on like changing some stuff here and there, like little things. Like for the most part, these are the designs I'm gonna go with, but I just wanna like change some things, maybe to add some more complexity or maybe some more simplicity to one of them. I definitely do feel like Hellhound is missing on complexity, and the Infernicon based on Greed is probably a bit too complex, so you know. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below. The next Infernicon I'm gonna do is gonna be based on Descent of Sloth, so I can't say when I'm gonna get around to releasing that video. I haven't even started, but you know, I'll definitely get around to it. This is definitely a series I'm gonna keep on doing. And if you guys are wondering when my brother's gonna make a video, it is whenever he stops being a lazy couch potato, so it's his fault, like hashtag Squeakergate. Anyways, so yeah. That's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you'll enjoy. I'm having a lot of fun doing these, so I'm glad you guys are enjoying them. If you like the series as well, you know, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out a lot, and it lets me know that you guys want to see more, and it encourages me to do more. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Stay safe, guys.